All right, out there. It's that time again. The Thin Red Line Radio Show. We're back. How you doing, Sean?
Good. Episode 35 we're on here.
35. I don't know. It's been a long time since we recorded.
Damn right. Almost 2 months. October 21st.
It's been a busy fall, even though with this COVID and all this other craziness, homeschooling and all that stuff, we just can't find time to get stuff together. I'm making excuses though.
Well, no, you're right. And with I got two here that are on, virtual learning, and my wife's working remotely. So, you start dealing with bandwidth issues. We have we actually recently upgraded the internet to the house, but, I can't have the kids miss and then trying to do it in the evening, because until recently, largely the kids' activities are still going on in terms of Grace has got softball a couple nights a week, and so there's still a lot going on at night. But now
I hear you too.
We're just back down in the shutdown mode, which is, so I got the hat on. I need a COVID cut. The barbershops were closed here. They just recently got the go ahead to reopen, so gonna get my locks trimmed on Monday. But yeah, so we're back, and it's not for lack of trying. Like, I've been getting a lot of messages, a lot of texts, a lot of questions in the Instagram and all that. Like, hey, what's going on? Where are you guys at? What's going? And yeah, it's not for lack of trying. We wanted to.
We want to try to get together when you were out for what you guys. What was that? That was Bobby's class, taking it to the streets, right? We were going to try and do.
We
just got crazy.
Well, and that was the thing. So that was the first. So yeah, that was like mid-November. I was out that way, and I honestly, it was the first presentation of that program, that we're taking it to the streets, which was a 2-day live fire training program that Bobby Eckert and us are offering, and it was our first time doing it, and I didn't really know what to expect, and I honestly don't know if Bob knew what to expect. So we, I thought maybe we might have a little time to break out and go do a quick little couple of Facebook Lives or a couple of little short episode maybe, but I mean, it was start to go.
Busy.
We're running 2 evolutions, and we did shit. I think we did 15 or 16 burns the first day, and almost as many the second day, running the groups through. So it was not a lot of standing around.
I stopped down for a couple hours. It was great to see you. I came in from got off of work and shot up there. I was only like 15, 20 minutes from where I'm working, where you guys were up in Bergenfield. So that's a nice facility and everything else. You guys are scheduled to be back in December, and things went sideways again, and hopefully next year you guys will be back up. I think you guys are advertising that.
Yeah, I think hopefully, I think out of abundance of caution, you decided to postpone the December one. You didn't want to take the chance of anyone getting sick and being sick for the holidays or whatever. We were careful, and they did their due diligence in terms of temperature checks, and when you couldn't be away from each other, put your masks on and all that kind of stuff. But largely most of my evolutions were done in full gear with the SCBA, so I had the ultimate in respiratory protection. But so the next one that's on the docket is down in Spartanburg, South Carolina, the first weekend in February, which is going to be cool. I've never been down that way, and I'm looking forward to it. It's logistically something I'm glad that I don't have to put the logistics together. That's Bob's job, because
they're bringing down that blue van.
I don't know if I call it the bang bus. I don't know if the bang bus is going to make it down there. You taught me about what the bang bus is. I'm just kidding.
But seriously, no, that's Bobby's got to start throwing us a little. If we're talking about sponsorship over here, we might have to talk to Bobby about this, promoting his.
I'm working on. I'm wearing the rag top shirt. I'm working on maybe getting some friends and family discounts on some helmet repair.
Well, that's good.
My lid's getting a little ragged.
Get a little beat up. So other than that, we had. Go ahead, Rag.
Speaking of new helmets, who's wearing one? Somebody's wearing one. It's
I
not me.
actually got the white helmet. We were talking about this, the promotion for battalion came through December 9th. So
December 9th.
promoted the battalion from captain, got in charge of the tour. We have a small city for anybody that's been listening. You know, we have 6 companies, 4 engines, 2 ladders, and the battalion. We run about minimum staffing is 20 right now, and it's what we've got, and it's great. I've been running since there. I was acting for a couple months, and finally got the full promotion, got the helmet. Just got the call from the uniform store that my white shirts are in. So it's good. It was a long time coming. It's tough. We talked about the promotion process, and you know you're in the middle of the studying, and you know I'm still in the books a little bit and gotta stay there. You know, you never know what the next step is going to be.
Shout out to Chief P.
Oh yeah.
This is what I've been working through recently. Steve. Chief
How to excel in the
Pizbrowski's.
fire department promotional process. Chief Pizbrowski from Santa Clara, California.
Yeah. So
Chief P's been on the money with that stuff.
my gosh, is he a smart dude? And I just been going through it, and we just had to, not to get off your topic there, but I just had a conversation with the fellows at the station that I have a good group of young guys that want to start considering promotion, and we just talked yesterday. As a matter of fact, I just got off shift this morning, and that come the first year, it's time to buckle down. You're probably they're looking at about 10 months ish before their test, and there's a lot of material, so we're gonna break it down, and I got a plan laid out for them and what we're gonna do and how we're gonna tackle it, and the rest is up to them. I mean, I will, it's kind of that I could lead a horse to water, but can't make them drink type of thing. And I told them, I said, I'd love to go over this stuff because I have a test to prepare for myself, obviously. And, but I can't just teach it to you. If you guys don't want to do the work, it's going to be hard. So they're all into it. I think it's going to be fun to help keep me sharp. And nothing else for the guys, it'll make them better at what we do every day. So,
and that's the thing. Setting up our success plan. It's nice. We actually promoted 6 guys. So we promoted 2 lieutenants, 2 captains, and 2 battalions. And it's nice. One of the captains that got promoted, I've been working with him for a long time. He was a lieutenant on the engine, and he got promoted to the captain. He slid over to the truck. Was a truck guy when he was a firefighter. He was on the engine for a while, and he's going to do a great job on the ladder truck. But you invest in your people, and we talked about the legacy book, and I gave him a book many years ago, and I told him to read it and pass it on. And it's a leadership book, and it's one of those things. You got to set people up for success. And one of the things that set me up for success, truthfully, Sean, was teaching. When I was, what got me how I did so well on my lieutenant's test and my captain's test and eventually my battalion's test. So I was an instructor. I was teaching for level 1 and level 2 for lieutenant and captain, being in the academy and teaching so often and knowing the books. And it's all about repetition, just like anything else in the fire service. It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
Training your brain, train your brain as well as training your muscles for doing whatever you got to do, whether it's cutting or force entry or whatever else. So that's just so important. But it's nice. I couple shifts in now as a battalion, and it's definitely good.
You had your first job the other day, right? A couple weeks back now.
Yeah,
you could contain to the block of origin, which is always our goal.
Well, truthfully, it only went. We got lucky, Sake's a tight city. It's a 3-story, a 2.5-story frame, and 2.5s on either 2.5 frames on either side, and it could have went. And our guys did a hell of a job. Knocked the fire out. A little extension to the Delta side, or for anybody from New York, the 4 side, And the guys did a phenomenal job. So it's fun going to work every day. Looking forward. You guys just had a big fire yesterday, and my city had a 4-alarm fire in the snowstorm in the middle of the morning, about 4:00.
Yeah, that was yesterday. Was I'll share the screen quick with you.
So whoever's
get ahead of ourselves,
listening to this, We're also on YouTube, our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be throwing some photos up. You can check, and we can talk about some different things. So,
But so this here, looking at this picture, that building with the yellow porch, that was the main fire building, vacant.
is that a board up,
And I
Sean?
mean, yeah, this is shit. 10:45, 10:30 in the morning, and it got going good. You can see on the left side. You can see my mouse, John.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. On the left side, you see the
This
collapse coming
the
out, right?
ceiling light, the roof let go. This wall blew out. Um, Ultimately, this house here got going. They were up. The crews were up. We went as a fast truck, so we were the. This is me right here, standing there with my head like mouth agape, going, that don't look good. But crews made a pretty good effort in this building to try to keep the fire out, but this sucker was
Sailing.
going good. Ultimately, good save here, minimal amount of damage to this exposure. This one was real threatened. The far right exposure, exposure 4, the exposure 4-2, whatever you call it, and crews did a really good job here. The biggest issue is, as you can imagine, is water.
Of course.
Decent area, but dead end mains, because the 33 expressways at the opposite side of the far end of this road, and that basically kind of cuts the city in half. So the mains all end there. So we were running water relays for forever. But this building here was a total loss. This building was basically a total loss. And these two are pretty good. So I'm gonna stop and
So
share. But
you're starting to get into our topic, what we're going to discuss today, talk about district familiarization and building recon. It's important to check out your area, know your area, know what's your hazard buildings and hazard areas, and getting out there before you catch a fire or anything else like that. It's definitely going to be important to get out with your crews. I love doing that when I was riding on the ladder and getting out and just stopping and, hey, let's take a look at this building. And we're going to do that today. We'll talk a little bit about what we're looking at, from the perspective of engine company officer, truck company officer, as an incident commander, as well as firefighters. What are the things that we've got to look at each of these buildings? I mean, Sean's got a building, a commercial building. I've got a residential one that we're going to pop up. And again, if you're listening to us, check us out on YouTube. We're going to start doing a little more interaction with the video aspect of this, and you'll
definitely
see what we got going on.
Faces for radio, though, bro.
No, absolutely. That's why we got to share our screen so we don't have to see us.
But so before we go there, let's circle back a second. But yeah, so the day your promotion happened, you did a Zoom thing, which is pretty neat. You what'd you say? Your son zoomed it out for you, filmed it for you.
Yeah. So my two of my kids couldn't make it. My one son's down in Florida, and my daughter she's up in Connecticut in the police academy, so she couldn't watch it. So we recorded it, but I sent it out to a bunch of my good friends, our firehouse kitchen table, and my son recorded it. So you guys actually got to witness it because of everything that's going on. We're only allowed 150 people for an outside venue, and we actually did it in the bays and 6 foot apart and only so many people inside. And there's actually snowing that day, which was,
let's say, in December it was too. So
yeah, so it was cold, and it was definitely interesting. It was one first of its kind. Before the promotions were done via Zoom, remotely in everybody's house, the last set of promotions, and everybody, I don't know. I like the idea of doing it live. It was it
was cool. And I was tied up a little bit because that was the day of Expo Direct. So we had my program that I did for Expo Direct, which was we want to talk about that for a quick second. Like it was kind of an interesting situation. So we was originally going to go to Expo, but prior to it getting canceled, and I was going to do my top tips for truck tactics class. And when the Expo Direct thing kind of happened, they were trying to, I don't want to speak for them, but the way I kind of understood it was they weren't they were trying to get away from tactics. Like they were trying to keep their tracks all on the same page in terms of leadership, in terms of culture, in terms of whatever. So we kind of didn't have a lot of time to modify a program into what turned out to be developing today's truck company culture. And so I took a lot of the slides from my tactics class and rolled them into it, just simply because we didn't have a whole heck of a lot of time to modify it. And it was good. I mean, the feedback was really, really good. I don't know how many people watched it live, how many people logged in and actually watched it as it happened, but I got 411 like reviews.
That's great.
So they sent us the reviews. Yeah. So here's my stupid brain. Like 409 of them were great. Like I got amazing feedback. People were awesome. You know, they loved it. It was good. It was difficult. So as hard as the virtual learning is normally, you know, your typical virtual where you're my student, I'm the instructor, you're in front of me, I can see if your face is drooping and you're getting bored. Well, the way Expo did it, and it was genius, is we pre-recorded it. So they pre-recorded it to eliminate, we've all been on them Zoom meetings or watching those webinars where it's, you know, the bandwidth happens and the freezes. So they pre-recorded it. Yeah, they pre-recorded it to make sure that didn't happen, which is awesome because it really, nobody had any issues along that vein. But that meant I was sitting at my desk right here talking to myself. So it was weird. And I learned, and again, it was the first time doing a situation, class like that. So I have a dual monitor set up. My computer, so my laptop's here in front of me, but over here is my monitor where I like to, you know, my eyes are getting shitty so I can see better. So the whole time, and I didn't know this, I didn't realize it, but often throughout the course, I was looking this way. So I had my kind of head away from the camera. And somebody commented that it seemed like I was like unrehearsed. Well, I was, for one, but it was, you know, interesting, but weird. But so 411 people left reviews and they were largely good. You know, it was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s type of thing. Yep. How likely are you to? And one person had a comment that, you know, listen, the instructor was knowledgeable, knows what you're doing, but the class didn't kind of fit the bill. It turned more into a tactics class than a culture class. And the funny thing is that all those positive reviews, that's the one, and you know, because I've been harping on it since it happened. That's the one that's eating me alive, and
yeah, it's driving you crazy on that.
And it doesn't, and it's not like I'm not upset with that person. He or she, I don't even know who it is probably right, and you know, you're never satisfied, and you're always going to want to improve on every program that you do. I know I always elicit feedback, and it's hard to read, you know, some people just don't like you. It's just the way it is. But so the middle of the night last night, I'm at the firehouse and I start redoing my program. And
of course, because you can't sleep, right?
Yeah, if you sat through and watched it on Expo Direct virtual, come see us in September. Come see us in September, because it will be different, and I promise we will talk more culture stuff. Culture is a hard thing to talk about, John, and we had some discussions offline, and it just because everybody's got their own definition of it, you know, and there's so much that's out there now, the cancel cultures and this culture and that culture. So it's hard. It's a tough thing to discuss, but I'm going to do it. I started rebuilding the program this morning, and I got till September to knock it out. Hopefully I get a chance to present it a couple times. But since I just let the cat out of the bag, we found out 2 days ago that we got accepted to Firehouse Expo in Columbus, Ohio in September, the 11th to the 14th, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
Doing developing today's Chuck Company culture program. You are doing your commanding the first 30 minutes and beyond. Yeah.
Yep. And we're going to do our class that we were supposed to do in Nashville. Yeah. We're doing our managing everyday incidents. So,
which is an important program and something that, you know, it might be not sexy, you know what I mean? But these are things that kill you. You know, your routine gas leaks, your CO problems, your heating and cooling issues. Shit, we had just outside of Buffalo last few weeks back, well, maybe not even a month ago, a couple weeks ago, in Gates, natural gas explosion, leveled 2 houses. And Gates is a small job, very good fireman, a lot of great guys there. Some guys I've known for a little bit, and a couple I just met and got to be going to be, keep in touch with. But small department, and they had this. If I'm not mistaken, it was 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, and boom, the house blows up.
Yeah.
And so that stuff happens. So there's a need for it, and we're gonna kind of relay how you handle it more from now that you're the big boss, the white hat. You handle it from the command side, and I'll handle it from I just asked the chief what he wants me to do side.
But these are some of these incidents that you're not going to get an incident commander. It's going to be either an engine and truck boss that are showing up, whether a 1-in-1, because we're going to talk about water problems. We're going to talk about electrical emergencies, carbon monoxide, heating issues. Our bread and butter operations, and the majority of our runs. We're a service industry. I'd rather talk about fires and extrications and all that other crazy stuff, but those are not it's not our norm. We're going on service calls, and I think it's a good class for firefighters as well as officers, because again, like you said, we got to watch out for certain things. We may throw a couple of tips and tricks that are out there that have worked for us, maybe a couple of war stories or two, because they're always good for a couple of them. And but I'm excited about this class. We're going to polish it up a little bit. We've already had it set and ready to go, but we're going to kick it up a notch, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I thank you to Peter Matthews and Lindsay and the review committee for accepting our presentations. It's I'm really looking forward to it, because you know what? I can't wait to get back to a conference and actually sit and see people and interact. Last time we did that, we were out in Nevada, right? Out in Vegas.
Yeah, that was in February.
That was in February.
Here, just so you guys don't think I'm bullshitting you, here's a preview of this that I actually am building up to.
Yeah, don't show like slide 3, because that's it.
Well, here's slide 4. That's how far I got so far. But it was 2 in the morning. There's 1, my family. There's 3. There's 4, 5, 6, 7.
We'll get
8.
there.
No, but hey, just so you know, I'm serious about it. We take that feedback to heart, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of building it up, because it can only get better. It can only improve. And
Sean, to touch base on your culture thing, because eventually those members that want to keep promoting up and testing up, I'm going to give a quick screen share real quick right now, because this is what you want to eventually get to. You want to get to this. I was receiving we have a culture in our department where the battalions hand the white helmet to the new battalion. As you can see, we're all masked up here, a little social distancing. This is the only bay door that wasn't down. This right, if you can see where my cursor is, this was wide open, and we had snow blowing in sideways during the presentation. So it's definitely cool. And again, we're gonna talk about culture, talk about progression, and I'm looking forward to your program, Sean, with that. So I'm gonna stop sharing this, and then what else is there?
There's a short joke there, but I'm gonna let it go.
Listen, I can only get so tall.
Oh, you stopped a little early.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Oh.
All right, well, let's get into this here.
All right, let's absolutely get into this. Oh, but hey, what else are we going to tease? January's edition of Firehouse Magazine.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah, that's
we've got we're going to be actually in the magazine, 2 separate articles. Sean's writing on.
So I'm new. I was commissioned last minute to. They had somebody backed out, or not backed out, got sick, got whatever, and so I was commissioned to handle the truck column for the magazine, for the edition, for the issue, and so it's cool. I think writing is something that I kind of want to do sometime, and I often start and I'll have 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, or I'll have an outline and some pages and notes, and they never amount to anything, just because I didn't find a need for them. Well, this time, right after Expo Direct, they said, "Hey, we lost somebody can't do their column. You think you can cover for it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do what I can do." And fortunately, John helped me out. We were able to knock out a pretty decent, couple thousand word or 1600, 1700 word article in a day or two, and that'll be in, and your article on the incident action plan is going to be in. And
Yeah, I got asked sort of last minute in November to step up and write about the about incident command and based on the incident action plan, and I tied it into my program of the commanding the first 30 minutes and beyond. So it's, each incident you gotta break it down into chunks and handle it from there, and en route, arrival, our radios, our resources, all that stuff, how to work it and command it and manage the incident. So yeah, it's going to be cool. It's January is going to be a nice addition for the Thin Red Line Radio.
And another fun fact is a friend of mine, a guy from our job, another issue came up, and another guy from my job, captain on my job, is going to have an article in it also. So there are going to be two people from Buffalo. I don't know if we're allowed to say this. Are we allowed to say this? I guess
I don't know.
It's too late now.
What is he going to get
Pete,
mad?
The boss
Sorry,
man
Pete.
doesn't listen. The boss man doesn't listen to me. Doesn't listen to our show anyway. Sorry, I'm just taking a social media pic here, John. But
okay.
You look good. You don't worry. I wouldn't put it out there if you looked bad. And so there'll be two articles from people from my job and you, and I thought that somebody else had one that we know too, but I guess
I'm not sure who's in there. But hey, I'm gonna throw a quick picture up here from my first fire as a battalion on the new tour. I'll screen share real quick. There we go. This is what we had going back in November 9th. I guess it was the night of the 9th or the morning of the 9th. We had board up going on real quick on arrival. Extended to the Delta side and a little bit to the Bravo side exposure. And guys knocked it out of the park. Did a great job. A lot of fire on arrival, and they saved this. We burned a little bit on the in the attic, maybe a little bit on the second floor, but this was salvageable. And this one was a board up to begin with, and the guys did a great job. So, but again, it's all about promoting a culture of aggressive culture, but safe.
Yeah.
And watching out after your people and knowing that you're going to take care of them and they're going to take care of you. So
not to go down that rabbit hole, but people get wrapped around the axle about that aggressive word. I don't mean, when I say aggressive, I don't mean kamikaze. Kamikazes only get you one mission. You know what I mean? So, all right, let's get into it. I'm just making a social media post.
For us, taking a picture of us?
Just
we haven't really posted much on our Facebook or Instagram lately, but we got to get better at that, and that's one of our things. But again, so we were going to talk about district familiarization, getting out there and driving around your area and looking at what you've got. I think it's one of the best drills out there because you're able to pick the brain of everybody in your crew. Just by driving, popping in front of a building and said, hey, what would you do here? And let's look at a building and let's talk about it, do a quick 360 if we're able to. If it's a public building, we're able to get inside of it. And if it's even if it's a private building, you ask the landlord or the super, they don't mind us walking through. And 9 times out of 10, they love the fire department. So we're able to get in, walk if it's the interior stairs, get up to the roof, get to the top. I love going up to the roof because the roof will teach you so many things just looking at it and how you get to the roof, which accessing the roof. If you got connected buildings or row frame or similar attached, if you got a long block, and talking about truck work, how do you get to the roof? We used to teach ALF. All right. So either your attached buildings, which is the safest if you're able to climb over a small parapet wall or party wall or firewall, or you're able to get up there the ladder where it's the aerial or the straight stick. And the last one you want to use is a fire escape. I'm not a big fan of going up a fire escape with a gooseneck because maybe it's got a shiny coat of paint on it, but you never know if that shiny coat of paint's covering over a ton of rust.
Yeah, you don't know what's holding those things in.
But that goes back to the district familiarization, though. So
Yeah.
as you're looking at some of these buildings, you might find an issue or something like that. I might not write up immediately to fire prevention, but talk with the super or the landlord if they're present, or the building owner. Give them a heads up that, hey, we just saw this. You might want to take care of it, and then you do a quick follow up with fire prevention. Let them check it out. Let them know we were being proactive with that.
Yeah.
Do you guys go out
And
and do building inspections, Sean? I never asked that.
no, and not officially, anyways. And
Mhm.
that's the biggest challenge. I was just gonna say is you show up somewhere, and if it's just an apartment building, let's say, and it's just John, the manager. Um, those people are oftentimes think you're there to look for violations and look for to gig them. So it's hard. So you have to have that conversation, and you have to try to build a little bit of a rapport and a relationship with the businesses or the supers or the whatevers. And some will welcome you with open arms, like you said, and others are going to give you pushback. We just had it in our district. The other day we did this, just what we're talking about. The alarm office had no information on these buildings. There used to be an old plaza, tore it down. Now there is 3-story townhomes on two or three of them, and a whole row of single-story townhomes. And they called the firehouse and said, we don't know anything about this. We don't have addresses. We don't even know the street name, because it was one of those deals. Again, it was a big, huge plaza.
So now it's a private street.
No, yeah, I guess it's considered a private street because it only goes in if you don't. There's no reason to be on it, but the reason was that it didn't exist. They put the road in when they built these places. So the crews went over and checked it out, and the ownership group of the one place was very accommodating. They actually welcomed us. They said, oh, here's the Knox box. We've been looking at these things, and these places aren't new. They've been there a couple of years, but we have no idea what you guys want in the Knox box. What benefits you best? And so, the keys go without saying, obviously. Like we have the universal keys to the city on our trucks, but life is good if there's a key to the building and they don't have to do any damage. Contact information, key fobs if they need them, alarm codes, things like that. And the guy was awesome. And then the other building.
Hey, Sean, hold on a second before you jump to that. Talking about the Knox box, one of the things, like as an inspector, when I was working in a different town, and even in the city, if I can ensure that we get an elevator recall key, if it's not the standard one that we have, as well as keys to the elevator machine room, all those,
that's huge too.
That's great. So we don't have to do additional damage, because a lot of these multifamilies, they don't want to open up any extra rooms, leave them unlocked or anything like that, because people tend to store or potentially steal. But
well, and especially the elevators with all the different styles are out there.
Exactly.
I know you do your elevator class. So you get your machine roomless elevators, and now what? You don't know. You're going to be walking around the damn building there's another building in my district that has 5-story building, but the controls for the elevator are on 4. So why in the world? The last place I would think to look is on the 4th floor.
Yep.
But it's the machine roomless elevators, and we had problems with them for a long time because it's a wood frame building. They built the shaft, and they actually told it's student housing. So they actually said that sometimes the kids, they overload the elevator and it racks. It actually racks a little bit, and it stops it from ascending or descending. But for the first couple times we went in there, it was like, how the hell do we control these elevators? I'm looking all over the place for the machine room, the power room, and the guy's like, oh no, it's right here in this panel.
The MRLs are tricky because, like you said, they can be anywhere. The power shut off, so you need to have that pre-plan.
So strange that they picked the 4th floor, and I actually kind of thought, I was like, was the 5th floor an afterthought or something? Like, I don't understand. But the guy said, that's just, my guess is that they fucked up and they put the wrong. They put the elevator on 4 that had, the controls in it instead of on 5 or instead of on 1. But you learn that stuff.
And Sean, I'm going to touch base one more thing.
If you can't do it formally,
the alarm panel key. if that alarm panel key, and which normally is, and that's one of my other classes I teach at an alarm class, is the pull station key. The alarm panel key should be the pull station key as well, and that should be in the Knox box also. But again, you don't know that until you get out into that building and take a look to see what it has or what it doesn't have.
Yeah, and more often than not, it doesn't have what you need. I mean, hell, we'll have buildings that are empty. The Knox boxes are empty, and they're like, why'd you smash it? Why'd you use the rabbit tool to get into this apartment? I'm like, well, we had a smoke coming out of it, and you didn't leave us a key. And so whose problem is it? They know the system. The super calls fire prevention, gives us a heads up, or even just calls the station alarm office and says, hey, can you have the fire company come over, open up the Knox box so we can load it up? But yeah, the getting out your building, and that's become a real challenge lately, especially with the COVID stuff, because people don't want you in your buildings. Most buildings are locked down. Unless it's a freaking, not to get political, but unless it's a mall or a big box store, you can't go in it. So your mom and pop shops, the ones that are going to have the problems most likely, because they're in those old, turn of the century buildings that have been renovated. Those are going to, the old taxpayer style buildings. We can't get in there because a lot of them are closed. And, but good conversations and a good rapport with your citizens. And that's where, we always practice. How do I want to say this? You so much is done. Oh, I'm going to go put the aerial up. Oh, I'm going to go lay lines. Oh, I'm going to go throw ladders. Well, we go practice in the most ideal situations. We're in the parking lot stretching, or we're in the apparatus room stretching, or we're, the giant parking lot behind the school around the corner from the fire station putting the aerial up with no obstacles, with no buildings to actually spot, with no
cars in, or
no cars in the way
or anything else like that.
So like, and this is like share screen thing is fun. So watch this one. Like, this is from the fire yesterday also. So this is what you deal with in real life. Like we got this engine. I'm pointing at it with my pen, like you can see my pen.
There you go.
Weird situation here. So this is west over this way. Okay. So this is truck 6. They got a reserve rig. Their station, their quarters is right over here. Engine 21 shares. It's where I worked for years. Engine 21 shares the house with them. Well, truck 6 is out on the air. Engine 21 was just over heading out of the district doing some training. Box comes in. This here's engine 33. So truck 6 is the first truck to get the first piece of equipment to get on the scene. So they have to make a call. Where do they go? They want to get out of the way, but you can't see there's a car right here. They try to get out of the way of this vehicle here. So 33 ends up with what most would consider a bad spot, but they just got dealt a shit sandwich because the truck arrived first. But if we don't practice this stuff to get onto the point, and my rig ended up right here, we were right behind 33, and ultimately we got the straight stick out of there, repositioned, and truck 7 took the spot where truck 6 is, and we went up and
went to work.
So hold on, we don't. Go ahead. We don't practice spotting these rigs. No, that's just the way that rig's built because it's a straight stick.
Oh, okay.
So that's the other issue. The pumper, they had to move the rig. So here's what's happened since we're talking about it. We're coming down the street. The captain of truck 6 makes a call. This middle building, main fire building, right where my mouse is. He said, we don't have long here. This is going to end up defensive. We are coming this way. We're dispatched as the fast truck. I said to my driver, I'm like, we need a spot to get the rig up. So we got here before all this hose was on the ground and all that. So we start to take this position, like right in here is where I wanted, but then truck 6 had to move because of where the pumper ended up. They couldn't get their outrigger out. So they start to pull up. So I'm like, well, just hold fast. So we were here. So we would have had a shot. It would have been, we wouldn't have been in the best spot, but we would have had a shot to at least get some water in these places if we needed to. But they didn't short jack.
You got a rear mount, right, Sean?
Yeah. So
So you would have to
so
back
that
in,
was up
right?
against it. Yeah. Well, I couldn't back in because the gate, especially coming from where I'm coming from, it's an expressway. It's just one lane road.
Hmm.
Humboldt Parkway is one lane road. We could barely make the turn off of these streets onto Humboldt, let alone backing down. So ideally, I would have loved to back down, put my turntable right where my mouse, like basically where that
Yeah,
hose
yeah.
is, get it up and over. And, obviously I'd be a little bit closer this way just so I had the room to clear the cabs. But it just wasn't going to work out. So I get to the spot, and we were fast truck. So we had our equipment set up here. And I'm talking to the chief, and I'm like, he goes, "Where are you at? And if I can get you water, can you?" And I said, "Yeah, if we can get water." So what I would have done was, use some cribbing to create a ramp to drive over the 5-inch here and get
Yep.
ourselves right in here. But we had such a water problem just because, again, these are dead end mains going this way, going east, are dead end mains, and but you don't spot rigs like this in training was the whole point of showing this picture, because you're
Yep.
not dealing with all that shit. To say nothing of the fact that the homeowners over here screaming, "Please save my house! Please save my house! Please save my house!" Like, so the more realistic you can make your training, the better you can do when you get to these situations. So
Sean, you know what I don't see there that my city's got tons of?
wires,
Dude, wires.
yeah. So that's the interesting point that you brought that up. Very, very few streets in the city don't have them. This particular street and a few of the streets this way, the wires all run. The power's in the backyard,
Oh, okay. What do you got? A
so they all
common
run
alley?
behind. It's just
Almost
it's
like
just back.
like
It's just
Chicago.
I'm
When they
curious how they're not even alleys. No, it's just the backyards butt up to each other, and I don't know the reason. I'm thinking it's just about when the you know I don't
I
know,
was
because when the
built.
neighborhood. Well, yeah, because most of the time wires are a huge issue for us. The only issue we really had right here behind the engine was a light pole. You
Hmm.
can't see in the picture. Um, and then you can't see it because it's obscured by the smoke, but there was a tree like right over here in front of the main
Okay.
fire building.
Hmm.
But so but I guess my point was that if you get out and practice like this, so Hurdle Avenue is the main street in my district, and the one commercial building that we're going to show is on Hurdle Avenue. It's a busy street, all super busy. So for me to say, at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna block off the street and I'm gonna work on aerial placement. It's no good usually. So you that's why you take those opportunities. Your Sunday mornings. Sometimes you have to do it late at night, which is kind of taboo. You don't want to be out training too late because guys need
So
whatever.
here's
But
so Sean, I'm gonna share real quick. This was a fire that our guys had this morning. Let me come back into this real quick. Here we go. All right. Let me share real quick. We had a 4 alarm fire in the middle of the snowstorm. Let me start sharing this and just take a look at that. That's unfortunately, that's what we deal with on almost most of our jobs. We got tons of wires, and this is a top floor fire. Guys made grabs right off the fire escapes and windows. It was this was posted, just some photos of it. But again, we got tons of wires, and it's tough. We got our tower ladder up here. We got our reserve tiller in service. I call it the bad luck truck. It catches a lot of work. It's a great truck. I love the truck, but it catches a ton of work. So, but that's some of these things that you're going to have to when we go to these buildings. We got to look at different things. All right, so this is a class 3 building, so ordinary constructed building. Some of the things that we talk about, and as officers and firefighters, we start looking at fire escapes. We talked about fire escapes getting to the roof. I'm not a big fan of it. I just going up and over that gooseneck, everything is your weight's totally thrown off, especially if you're wearing a pack. You're carrying a saw. One of the things that I used to carry when I was a truck officer was a rope bag. Anytime I was going to the roof, I had a 80-foot rope bag with me, and I dropped that thing down. I had a carabiner on the other end. So once I got up there, I could haul anything I wanted up. instead of trying to carry it. You ever try and lug a K-12 going up a fire escape? It's not fun. I've done it a couple times, and it's definitely labor intensive. But ever since changing it up and going with a rope bag, something simple, a small rope bag, hook it onto my my waist belt of the SCBA, just go right back up, and then drop it down and haul whatever we needed. But again, you talk about that. You talk about a Type 3 building. You got to worry about what? The big thing is you never wanted to get it into the cock loft. Once it goes to the cock loft, then what do we got? We're chasing it.
Yeah. Jeez.
So you're chasing it, and hopefully you're going to stop it or cut a large enough hole before you have an issue. Unfortunately, they had heavy fire on arrival, and I believe reports said that I had fire coming through the roof on arrival. So, a lot of different things. Like Sean said, we train in I won't call it pristine conditions, but we're not out there in a snowstorm. We're not out in an ice storm. And now you're up. You got limited visibility. You got freezing conditions, especially up in the Northeast, in the northern part. You got water problems, potentially frozen hydrants. So these are all things that we have to contend with and plan in. But when we do our district familiarization, we can talk about that. Some people say when we drill, we always drill for success because we want to do something positive. But sometimes you got to throw that drill for failure. Hey, this goes wrong. What do we got to do? We got to be able to troubleshoot, especially as chauffeurs, pump operators, as well as the truck drivers and the officers. Hey, how do we overcome a frozen hydrant? Hey, that's a different radio command, because we're not used to that. We're not used to making that audible, and you got to call that out, notify the and that starts from the basic guy, the guy making the hydrant. He's got to notify the officer or notify command that he's got a dead hydrant. So now we got to start calling different routes. They had about, I guess, 6 to 8 inches of snow down there from what I understand. So access may have been an issue as well. So these are all things that as we're doing a building walk around, talk about what could be the potential. I'd rather have the aspect and the mindset of worst case to best case. If we plan for the worst case, I'm not surprised. But if I plan for the best case scenario and things go sideways, oh shit, what do we do now?
Right. And that's the only thing we can do, and we have, that opportunity to get out and to do it on every dinner run you go on, every call you go on, spot every rig like it's on, or spot every building you pull up to like it's on fire, no matter what. And looking at, I'll go back to the share screen. We were going to talk about this building anyways. This is a local taco joint. It's right in our first due. You Buffalo folks that are listening either love it or hate it. This is the Lloyd Taco Factory, and we go here a lot. And we go here, we'll get lunch there. I like the food. People don't like it. I think it's pretty freaking good. So, what you would consider taxpayer, old Type 3 building. We actually had a fire in this apartment right here last year around this time, I think. So this building, when you look at it, flat roof, if we don't stop there once a week, twice a week, we definitely drive by it multiple times a shift. But I wish this was a better photo. This is like out of the Buffalo News. But more often than not, we're in the turning lane of Hurdle Avenue, which is right over here. This is Hurdle Avenue. More often than not, that's where we park our rig if we're coming here to get lunch. Or across the street from here is another restaurant that we'll go to once in a great while. And so every time we have that discussion. Now, if we pull up and it's on fire, it's a little different. We're blocking the driving lanes. I don't care. But the reality of it is to get to ideal spot for this building, like that where it says Pizza Club back here, right here, that's a stand-up sign, which it's tough to see because of the angle, but it kind of obscures the corner of that building. So if I'm looking at my aerial spot, I want my turntable, right in here somewhere so I can get as far down the front. I can get down the two side, or the Bravo side, and I get access to the roof. So we had this fire, and it was a wall furnace, and nothing major, a lot of smoke, chasing heat, that type of thing, can job. They stretch just to be safe, but sorry, this door here is one way in. There's another door with basically underneath that awning right there, another way in. They both lead up to a common hallway. So I'm in the apartment. We're first in. I'm in the apartment, and we're doing what we can. We're trying to get the furnace off the wall to see what we got. But I'm obviously concerned about what's above. So the crews are trying to, from the inside, trying to figure out how to get upstairs. How do I get to the roof? How do I get to the roof? There's no access to the roof from inside. So it was a challenge. And when they probably spent a good 20 minutes roaming around looking for every door they could find to see if there was access to the roof. Now, again, there's no very, very minimal void space. It's not like a traditional building like this with the common cock loft that runs that whole thing. I think probably what happened was when they built the apartments up here, renovated the apartments up here, they eliminated some of that cock loft space. I don't know if this line here is, part of the deal, like why they, when they did some
Or
construction,
just cosmetic.
or if it's just cosmetic. But so finally, our biggest concern in this building was we got a fire in the wall. Where's it going to go? Is it going to get in that cock loft? And now I got a whole city block on fire because this is one big plot. There's an ice cream shop next to it. There's another door that leads to apartments, and there's like a pet store. This is a pet store right here. So, but we're at this building all the time, and more often than not, we're dealing with this. You see all the cars. This is a busy street. There's always traffic, and but you use this opportunity. So now it's a little different because of COVID. They got like a patio out here, which throws a little more shit in the game. They got a patio out here, so that even gives us more access issues. But this is all stuff. These are conversations you can have. You order your food. You can't go in the building anymore, so you order your food. You're sitting there waiting for it, and instead of staring at your phone or talking about the, people watching, talk about the building. What happens if we got fire showing out of that window? Where are we putting the truck? Where are we putting the engines? And to say nothing of the fact, go ahead.
So with that, Sean, but now with these gazebo style or these tents out front for outdoor eating, now you can't throw that ground ladder directly to that window, right?
Yeah, there's a ground ladder obstacle right there. The
exactly,
awning,
it's an overhang.
Yeah, there's one there. There's one there. The only part of this portion of this building that doesn't have it is these two garage doors at Lloyd, but they do have these lights. These are lights, but obviously those are small enough. We knocked those out.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this is a major problem. And if I need access to these windows in a serious fire, I need access to these windows for VES or for whatever reason, egress. This becomes a huge issue for me. But if I don't think about it, and then look at down here at empty pockets here, huge awning.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the whole front. If the awning's not there, you could get a ground ladder in and underneath. Obviously, this picture was taken in the wintertime or pre-COVID. Actually, so pre-COVID, because this would be their tents now. Now, instead of having just an awning, they likely have sides up with propane heaters or whatever else inside there. This building, much either not older maybe, but not as renovated as this. You see, you got all your vents and scuppers up there. It looks like, and then right in here, the Pizza Club is just a small, wood frame building that they kind of just plopped in there. So it's an interesting thing. And then as you continue on down, here's more of a, taxpayer type, might be type 3 on the first floor, and then they either built it up into a peaked roof going up.
So some of the other things like that far building, I know we're looking down that down the street. That may be a wood frame building, a class 5 with with a block exterior. Just for cosmetics.
Chances are it is, actually. If I'm not mistaken, I think that is. It's just just an old house.
But
And then,
that's perfect things to talk about, because now you talk about you got a fire in the walls. Now, is that a true block, and is that a true brick or a block building, or is that a facade?
oh,
Now you get potential for what type of collapses, and this is where it's important to talk with the members of your of your company, and you talk to them like, hey, who's got knowledge about this building? Who knows about this? Or what do you think? And this is where you find out what your members know, and let them do the training. I think that's one of the best things, is when you're able to bring your members into it. So you're not, as the officer, you may lead it, but you let the discussion go, and let your own members teach. Because when your own members can teach, they're fortifying their knowledge and passing on good information, as long as
yeah.
it's good information.
And I do that almost by rule, John. I like to let I empower them to do that with the newer guys. I have two newer firefighters on my crew now, and one's a true rookie, just came fresh out of the academy, and the other one's never been on a truck. And I want my veterans, even though one of my veterans, finger quotes, is a 6-year, 5-year guy, I want them to give their version of why we put the rig where we put it, what's important. When I pull up and Lloyd Taco Factory's on fire, what am I looking at?
Yeah, because now you get to see what's in their mind.
Yep.
And you know that, hey, they've got it. They're seeing what I'm seeing and everything else. Sean, let me screen share. Let's put up that other class 5, the residential that we were doing, because we're coming up on 50 minutes already. Believe it or not, we can talk forever.
It's about time. 50 minutes.
You're gonna go fall asleep.
I'm gonna have to pee pretty soon.
All right, let me get to.
You should have the screen, right? Mine's gone.
Yeah, I got it right now. I'm popping back into here. See what my new tab is. Nope, that's a different one. Different one. Where did it disappear to? No. Oh, there it is. You got it now, Sean?
Yeah,
good.
It's your promotion picture.
Oh, it's the promotion picture right now?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not good.
It's opening me up to short joke again.
All right, hold on. Let me close this out then. So let me close that. Oh, screen sharing is stopped. Okay, so let me try and share this screen. All right, screen share. All right, you got a house now or no?
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the one we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Exactly. So, all right, so here we are. If we take a look at this, typical class 5 wood frame house. And again, there's some things that we got to look at, not just stopping at commercial structures, but residential, because where do we get most of our fires? We get most of our fires in residential buildings. So where's our largest loss of life? Residential buildings. So it's important to start taking a look and sizing up our buildings. Like you said, you start talking to your members and get their ideas on, like, hey, how would you ladder this building? Or, hey, if we got to do something like VES and throw a ground ladder, we get a 14-foot ground ladder right to to this lower roof, and we can VES off of it. But hey, now you got snow or ice. That's a game changer, because now you're going to slip, because that pitch is too much for to just stand on, especially if he's got snow or ice. And we talk about a little bit of a setback, right? So how are you stretching in? There's the A side has a doorway. Is this a standard setup, or is there additions to this building?
There's a lot of bump outs and dormer type. That looks like that's things that have been modified over the years, for sure.
So it's important. We might not be able to get inside this building to do a walk-through because it's a private residence, but we can always stop and, hey, how are we positioning? Where's the engine going to position? Where's the closest hydrant to this? All right. Are we going to pull past? We're going to stop short. We're leaving the room for the truck. Can the truck back in the driveway? Say you've got all depends upon what piece you're on too. Sean, you were saying that these guys had a reserve piece at that fire. Mm-hmm. What's the capabilities? What's the differences between your apparatus normally and your reserve piece? Is it a different length ladder? It might be a 75-footer versus your 100-footer, right? So
in this case, they went from a tower to a straight stick.
So that changes your operation immediately.
that's stuck in. Yeah, it's not pinned. It doesn't. It won't. They can't do it. They can't fix it. So realistically, there's a huge operation. Their ideal, in knowing the captain of that truck very well, ideally they would have got that rig out of the way and let the towers in. And they're an aggressive truck. They're just like us. We're on most of the boxes together. But yeah, they know that they were up against it, but they were stuck. Well, by the time they realized that this was transitioning from offensive to defensive, the die was cast, so to speak. There's a million rigs in the way, and so my headphones telling me that they're dying. The die was cast, So yeah, you're right. What's your capabilities? And this rig or this house here with the setback, and you have this modified driveway here with. So.
And again, where are you going to set up? How are you going to set up if you can't get your ladders in here? And again, from the truck company perspective, I'm looking at ground ladders. This is a ground ladder fire for me. If we've got that issue, how are you getting to the roof? The roof's going to be difficult to access if you got an attic fire, top floor fire, or anything else. I don't believe this is a balloon frame constructed building because of the changes in the windows and stuff. But it could have been a renovated house. This could have been a one story that they blew up, and if we can see my cursor in the back, maybe they put an addition off the rear, and you have this porch here. You have overhangs. You have wires. It looks like coming into the building. Again, all these things, and if you take a look, it looks like there's a terrain change too, Sean. The buildup with a rock wall in the front up here.
Right.
So now
Sure.
that adds to a slip, trip, and fall hazard potentially. You can't see that at night, right? You're walking back to the rig. You got all these lights shining at you. You may not see that. So they're all little things to point out. And again, getting the ideas of your crew is so important to know what they're seeing and what's running through their mind. So they're doing that constant size up. I talk about that all the time. It's not just the incident commander's job or the officer's job to size up. It's the crew member that has to constantly do your size up. You got to figure out what you've got going on, and you got to be aware of what's happening around you. The radio is great for talking to, but I think the radio is better for listening, hearing what's happening. Tones of voices are a big thing. It's important to hear what's happening on the fire ground and with our interior operations and stuff like that. Sean, what do you got for us on this building from like the engine side?
Oh, I'm not an engine guy. No, but
come on, you spent more time on that engine. I know you're selling yourself as a truck guy now.
I was on a truck for most of my career, but anyways,
you had to throw in engine 21 before, though, right?
Yeah, that's my spot. All right, so multiple doors, multiple access points. Assuming we're standing at the road, your number one decision is where are we making our stretch. You have a front door. I can't see it, but if you can right there, right to your left.
That looks like a front door.
Front door here.
What do you think we go into, right?
Yeah, it's got to be the living room. You'd assume, right? Yeah. So back here on the deck, you have a sliding patio door.
That's probably what, kitchen, right?
I assume the kitchen area. That'd be a pretty weird layout for that to be like a great room or a family room.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to assume that's your kitchen. You roll around back. I gotta believe there's another door there.
Yep,
but
probably
then
a rear.
So then what are you dealing with? The dormer up top. You got a bedroom. So these are a lot. So how many making my initial stretch, making my decision for my stretch, so much comes into it. If I got a second floor rear fire, that front door probably isn't my best bet. You're going to walk in right into a living room. And then where's the center stairs? Are they center stairs? Are the stairs off the kitchen? I can't see very well, but it looks like back in the back where your mouse is now, is that an addition? Is that an add-on? So you might, you have to assume the original house had stairs in front of that. This is weird on the left side with just by the satellite dish there. Weird setup with that extra dormer and bump out. What do they do there? Because you have that big dormer, the big peak, and then a smaller bump out next to it. So either they expanded that and turned it into a master bedroom, or,
it's because that's a thing with with renovations creates void spaces. Renovations kill firefighters, because it gives additional void spaces for smoke and fire to travel, and things just tend to pop out at times. So it's important to look at this. Is this a large attic? Is there a pull down stairs? Are there stairs up to the attic? Most likely, I'm going to say probably a pull down stair in this house. But again, we're not in these houses, so the only time we can get in houses are when they're building them. So if you've got new renovation or a new building going on, a new development, drive through that development, talk with the developer, see if you can do walkthroughs while they're being built. See if it's truss construction or it's stick built, or is it a combination? Take a look when if somebody's doing a renovation, they got a dumpster in the driveway. Hey, drive by, take a look, walk around, talk with the contractor. Hey, what are you putting up? You putting up TJIs, or are you putting microlam beams in? You doing regular stick? You never know what they're doing, whether they're doing truss floors or truss roof. It's important to know, because that in the middle of the night will be important to know when you've got that fire. And it's better to know now while you can see what you got going on before it's snowing, raining, sleeting, and pitch dark.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
And that's where, if you're a department that goes on medical runs or goes on food on the stove type of runs, that's, and you don't want to be obvious about it, but when you're in there, take advantage of it instead of just, if you're, my crew, the young guys usually doing the patient assessment and all that, and I'm just kind of standing there debating if I should actually fill out a PCR or not. And but take the advantage to look around. Now, don't it's tough to go wandering around people's houses without them like, what the hell is this guy doing, casing it out? But you can learn a lot. You can learn what type of do they have any add-on security? Do they have, just like we were just talking about, what the hell did they do to this house?
Or how about the potential of a heavy content or hoarding condition?
Yeah.
Right? Are they running extension cords all over the place? What's that mean? Now with COVID, people are losing their houses and stuff, and now they're moving people into the living room. So the living room is now a bedroom and have more people in it.
Or attic space. We just had a fatality here a month or so ago, or a couple months back, where a family was living in an attic, and they had one way in and one way out.
Well, we've talked about that, I think, Sean. Like in my city, I'm telling guys, look where the air conditioners are. If you got an air conditioner in an attic window, it's a livable space, as well as curtains. Same thing with basements. My city, they have an ordinance about living in attics and basements. Not allowed to, unless it's properly renovated for it. But again, access and all that other stuff. But in tough times, people are doing what they got to do, and then they're not thinking about fire safety. They're taking care of their family or whatever else. But
they're making do.
They're making do. So let's start to wrap this up. I know you want to go get a little shut eye.
I need my beauty sleep. You see
little
me?
Nap. I can tell you're getting tired. So I've got about probably about 10 to 14 inches of snow to go remove from my driveway. So looking forward to that. You guys only got a couple inches.
Everybody's having laughs at Buffalo usually, but guess what Sean's not doing today?
You're not shoveling.
Exactly. We got a lit. I was texting with Bobby earlier, and he's like, we got like almost 2 feet. It was wild. And I'm like, yeah, we used to, and I'm not making fun of you, because it'll happen,
Oh, absolutely.
It'll happen here, and ours with the lake becomes the great determination of what. Yeah, if the lake doesn't freeze and we get that storm just right, that's when we get the 6 to 8 feet overnight type of stuff. So I am not rooting for it. That's why I am not having fun at your behest.
Nah, it's all good. I got the snowblower ready to go. Maybe a kid or two will come out and help me. And we'll figure it out. My kids, not like the neighbor kids, but
yeah, I was gonna say that. Maybe. You never know. Maybe you'll get lucky.
Yeah. All right, brother. So we got to try and do this again sometime soon. Kick out another one. This was fun. It's not just a catch up, but we're talking about size up and talking about knowing our district and the familiarization of the buildings. And it'll help so much when things go sideways in the middle of the night. You've got an idea of what the layout is and stuff like that. And we'll talk about some of the things that I'm doing right now at my work. I'm doing a high-rise pre-plan, not even really a pre-plan, but just like a building layout. It's where I'm studying a lot up on right now is high rises. I'm not the strongest with that. It's not a bread and butter operation. So just
Right. Ours either. And I always worry about ours because we've been doing a lot over one of the apartment buildings right around our district, just laying out a plan. I'm proud of the guys. Actually, it was kind of their idea. Hey, let's figure something out with this place. And so, but yes, it will not be 2 months before you hear from us again.
maybe we'll do something with the magazine when it comes out. We'll pop it up and we'll talk about the articles.
Yeah.
So
In the meantime, yeah, if I have good holidays and
Merry
stay
Christmas,
safe.
Happy New Year,
and,
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, all that
yes,
good
sir.
stuff. Have a good New Year. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Stay healthy. We'll talk to you guys soon.